guys, today I'm going to start filming another wear and compare, and it's going to be the Estee Lauder double wear series, and it's the 3 that I actually have. I'm not sure if there's more than this to the range, but I have the regular, four that I have. I have the Estee Lauder double wear, regular one, I have the light, Laura from Laura's Eye View lent me her BB cream version, and I also have the new compact. So we're actually going to do 4 foundations in this video, and I'm going to start with the regular because this is basically the benchmark. This is what I absolutely love. Can't speak highly enough about, you have heard me rave about before, so let's just get on with the application. I'm generally quite lazy with my foundations and I do use my fingers most of the time, but my favourite way to apply this is with a beauty blender of some kind. This is a Real Techniques one, but whatever you have. I find that the application is lighter, I can layer it a little bit nicer as well with this. I mean, I do tend to use a little bit more product, I think, when I use a beauty blender because the wet sponge does pick up a little bit and I don't feel like I get as much coverage when I want a higher coverage. I tend to use this and kind of layer it. Whereas on the day-to-day basis, I would use my fingertips, and I tend to use less product, but the finish is not quite as nice. I think if you want the ultimate, best possible performance from it, I would use some kind of beauty blender. So that's just one layer, and that's what I would apply if I was going to kind of go out for the evening, or if we're going to kind of do a day and night. I would apply a little bit more in the center of my face. And then obviously I'm going to put my concealer and stuff on top of this and see how it performs throughout the day. So it's been just less than 7 hours, and I think that this is everything that I hoped that it would be. I mean, there's a reason that I've stuck to wearing this as long as I have, and I'm happy paying the price for it again and again because it does last so well, and it didn't disappoint today. I'll give you some kind of close-ups, we'll focus in a second. On the center of my face you can see, I mean, the coverage has lasted so well. I'm just really impressed with it, and I wouldn't have any qualms with recommending this again. Next, we will be trying the Double Wear Light to see whether or not it performs as well. It's been a while since I tried the Double Wear Light, but we will see. And again, I'll use it for another 7 hours and test it out, but the Double Wear is still aces in my book. I don't know if I told you yesterday the colour that I was in the regular double wear, but that's Bone, and this one is Intensity 1.0. This is the double wear light. This is the first one that I ever bought and the one that I was completely converted to, and the only reason that I ended up buying the original was because when I went to buy this one, they didn't have my shade. And to be honest, I didn't see a tremendous amount of difference in the 2 foundations at the time, but I'll be interested to see whether or not I do now because it's been a while since I've worn the double wear light. Wow, the difference is kind of obvious once you actually start applying it. It's just way, way lighter. I've never really kind of pit them against each other like that before, but it's obvious the difference. So if you weren't looking for something, I can't really feel it on my face at all. Maybe kind of around this area where it's just kind of still settling, but it's much, much lighter weight. So if you wanted something that perhaps wasn't as heavy on your skin, it didn't feel as heavy on your skin. Not that I feel that the double wear is particularly heavy, but for those of you that really like something completely weightless, you might like this one more. The coverage is still buildable. I know that you can still build it up to quite a high coverage because I normally build a little bit more around this area. I didn't today, but I know that that is possible, and it blends beautifully, especially if you use a beauty blender. Again, just nicer with layering. If you are going to do more than one layer of a product, the beauty blender really comes into its own there, I feel like. But this is just, it's just lighter. The colour match I think is slightly better for me in the double wear light than in the double wear. Whether or not I've just not found my colour in the double wear, I don't know, but the Intensity 1.0 is definitely more my colour than the Bone in the regular double wear. I don't think they're entirely comparable, but part of that might be that it is a little bit lighter. It's not quite as opaque, slightly more sheer, and so you can see a little bit more of my actual skin through it. Today we're off to a wildlife park, so it's going to be a good test, a lot of walking around, and a full day out. So we shall see a little bit later on how well this is getting on. Another hit, I think you would agree. We've been out, I mean, one thing that I thought, as the day kind of went on, I thought I would have to mention is I've had a scarf kind of like rubbing this section of my face, and I thought it's probably gonna rub away my foundation. Here, most of the day we were walking around, and it's not really anything to write home about at all. I can't see any noticeable wear on any of my foundation whatsoever. One thing that I've been surprised about the last couple of days is how well both the double wear and the double wear light have controlled oil. Now, that's not going to be the same in the summertime. I originally tried both these concealers, both of these foundations in the summertime when I was really struggling with oil control a couple of years ago. But over the kind of winter months, I wouldn't say that it's the only thing. I probably would still powder if you're talking a full day or an evening out or something. But I haven't powdered either day, and I think it's been pretty good for oil control for someone who in previous tests, you've seen I've got really quite shiny. So of the two so far, I would say if you just generally like a lighter feeling foundation and you're not super keen on having anything super high coverage, then the lighter one's probably going to be for you. But for me, I feel like I get more applications from the original double wear because I don't wear it particularly heavy. You have the option that you can layer it if you want to, but the way that I wear it is quite light anyway, so I feel like I get more for my money. Next up is the BB cream, and this is called the Double Wear All Day Glow BB Moisture Makeup with SPF 30, and this is in intensity 2.0, so slightly darker, I would imagine, than the light that I showed you yesterday. I borrowed this from a friend. I probably would have picked up 1.0 just automatically because I know that I'm 1.0 in the Double Wear Light, but I borrowed this from a friend with a similar complexion to me, so we shall see. But I'm not going to hold a bad colour match against it. Definitely darker than the first two that I showed you. I'm not sure if that is just because it's intensity 2.0 or because it's called All Day Glow. I don't know if they're all a little bit on the darker side, but I definitely would pick up a lighter colour if it was my own product. Now the first thing, I applied it with my fingers because I thought, you know, BB cream, that's how I would apply a BB cream. I would apply it with my fingers, and it did not blend well at all. It didn't blend as well as either of the first two that I showed you would apply with my fingers because I do that on a regular basis. And so I had to go back in with a damp beauty blender to kind of blend out what was already there and then add some more to kind of make it work. So one thing that was a little bit strange was it's nothing like any BB cream that I've ever tried before. I'm not sure, to be quite honest. I think that it's a similar coverage to the light, just kind of first impressions. It doesn't seem to be any lighter than that. For me, it feels a little bit heavier than the Double Wear Light. And yeah, I think it's just expectations. I was expecting it to be more like a tinted moisturizer, BB cream style product, and it was much more like a foundation. It's been a little over 7 hours now, and it's pretty much exactly the same as the Double Wear Light for me, the way that this is worn, and the fact this has lasted all day. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. When I first tried this, or rather before I tried this, I wondered whether or not this was not going to be as long wearing because it was a BB cream. Personally, I don't think that there is a long wearing BB cream, and I think that this is why this is not like a BB cream. It's much more like a foundation product. I don't really see the point in this when they have the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light. But before we actually do the conclusion at the end of the video, I will do a little bit of research into what the difference is between the two products. Because for me, this is a pointless product. If you were going to buy this, you may as well buy the Light because it's more blendable. And well, I suppose you could buy either, but I feel that the other one is more blendable. I'm just not really understanding this product. It feels like exactly the same one, but we shall see. By the end of the video, I may have an answer for you as to what the differences are. But I did like this. I just think that I wouldn't purchase it if I had the Light. The final test will be the new compact Double Wear, which I, full disclosure, was not super keen on when I actually tried it out. So in the inside it looks like this. It gives you a metered dose. You press this button and a metered dose of product comes out. It has a sponge to apply it with. I'm not going to apply it with that sponge. I am still going to go in with the Real Techniques Beauty Blender, but I will show you how it works. So you press this button and product comes out. Now it's supposed to be double wear on the go. I've heard lots of different things about how this should be applied and how it should be used, but I'm just going to pop it on and then I'll talk a little bit about how it feels and how it applies initially to me. First off, the shade I have in this is Cool Bone. I don't believe they do the original bone that I have in the original Double Wear, so Cool Bone was the closest that I could get to it, and they don't do the intensities the same way that they do for the Light and the BB cream. Now I applied it with a Beauty Blender type sponge today. Usually, or previously, when I've tried this out, I've used my fingertips or I've used the sponge that came with the applicator, or with the applicator that came with the packaging. And not a beauty blender because it's just an extra thing, and I feel like this is a travel compact. It should be something easy. When I've used my fingers, I really do not like the texture of this product. It is very, very sticky. It is completely different to either or any of the other three that I've shown you. It is a completely new animal. So if you are used to the other three and you pick this up thinking you're going to get something similar but in a compact form, you are not. It is not the same thing. From what I can gather online, it is more of a product to touch up with throughout the day. It's got a lot of hydrating properties and it does feel that kind of stickiness, and you can kind of see already compared to the other ones that I showed you, I look shiny. I feel like it's not giving me as much coverage around here. I don't know if it's going to show up on the actual video, but in the viewfinder I seem quite red around here. And around this section, it's kind of settled into pores immediately where the other ones don't. So this is not my favourite when I first apply it. Now, that being said, I'm not sure I've really ever inspected my face and my foundation at the end of the day if I've worn this the once or twice that I've given it a go. So it will be still quite interesting to me to see how it lasts and see how it wears, because I have no idea. Okay, if you can hear a noise in the background, Manny's going crazy because I've just got home. But I needed to show you this before he starts kind of like fussing all over me. This is 7 hours because I've been to work, so it's a full 7 hours plus a little bit of time either side. And I think, without even saying anything, I think you can tell that this is different to the other foundations. This is not at all, for me, something that should have been in the double wear range. I mean, I know that some people like it, but for me, this is just not good. If you like the originals, I don't think you're gonna like this. Maybe if you don't like the originals and you want something that's a little bit more hydrating and kind of dewy and stuff, then you'll like this. But for me, it just doesn't work at all. I mean, I was so shiny, like, it's been painful not to blot some of the oil on my face at work. Really awful. And then, I don't know if you can even see that. In person, you can really obviously see it has settled into so many lines around my eyes. Lines I didn't even know I had. It has settled all under my eyes. You can see. Which the other foundations do not do. I just don't get it. It's not for me. That's not to say it's not for anybody, because I know that there are people out there that really like it, but you know, I think you can tell the difference kind of day by day, which ones were better on my skin, and my skin is fairly combination. It's not particularly dry, but definitely has dry patches, and it's not particularly oily, but it can definitely be oily, as we can see today. And this is just not my favourite. So I did say that at the end of the video I would go through the differences between the products, and I pulled them up on the website. So we'll kind of run through what Estee Lauder say the differences between these 4 things are. So the original double wear, it says it's the UK's #1 foundation, which I can entirely see why. 15-hour stay-in power, worry-free, long-wearing makeup, fresh, natural through heat, humidity, blah, blah, blah. Feels lightweight. 15 hours basically. So it's like a decent medium to heavy coverage, buildable, all that jazz. And it's kind of the original. Moving on to the light one, this is where I think I can understand this one. Where do the other ones really fit in? So this one, 15-hour wear, same. Light as air, long wearing makeup is now lightweight makeup. That's what they're saying about this one. And I would agree, this does feel lighter on my skin than the original. It says it's makeup that keeps up fresh, natural, comfortable, goes on sheer, leaves skin free to breathe all day. It is a little bit sheer, but I feel like, again, you can build this to quite a high coverage as well. The difference with this one is it does say that it controls oil, resists smudging, and won't melt off through heat and humidity. So in theory, this one is something that you should be wearing kind of in the summertime, let's say, when it's a little bit warmer. And the reason that I originally bought this was when it was summertime and I was particularly oily a couple of years ago, and I really, really enjoyed this. And I do remember not liking the original quite as much. So maybe there is something to that this controls oil a little bit better than the original formula. The BB cream, it says, now you have hours to glow. The luminous long wear BB makeup brightens, perfects and evens. It does say brightens and perfects. I was expecting somewhere for this to say something about the kind of glow, or that it's supposed to be a bit tinted or something, but I don't think that it does. It says lightweight, oil-free, moisture-fresh, protects with a high level of SPF 30, instantly perfects skin tone and vibrancy, soft optics impart clear, bright tone. So maybe there is something to that. And luster to the skin for a flawless, healthy glow. Okay, so maybe there is kind of something, some kind of, I don't know, luminosity to this that makes it glow rather than it just being tinted. Provides vitamin E and vitamin C antioxidant protection, long wear up to 8 hours. So this in theory is slightly more hydrating. It does give you a bit of a glow, and I think it did. I mean, it's difficult to say because it was a little bit too dark for me, but let's say that it did. Slightly more hydrating. Now I'm not sure about that because I did feel like it was a little bit thicker and not as easy to blend as the light. And it says it's sheer, which I think it was a pretty good coverage. So for me, this is not what I expected a BB cream to be. If you were gonna get this one or the light, I would choose the light, and I don't really see the point in this product. Finally, the real dud among them. Makeup that's going places, gives you 8-hour wear at the push of a button, and it does say that this is completely different. The luminous and hydrating makeup is a different formula than our original double wear stay in place liquid formula. The innovative compact keeps liquid makeup spill free. Press the button for your own custom look, once for a light touch, twice for more coverage, blah, blah, blah. I really, really like the packaging. I mean, it's a little bit large for on the go, but I like the idea of this packaging. I really don't like the products that's inside it. Again, I feel like it's just wrong within the double wear range. That being said, had the BB cream been more like the compact foundation in texture and formula, I probably would have forgiven it, because the way that this has lasted on my skin throughout the day is totally how I would imagine some kind of moisturizing makeup to behave, not an actual foundation. Ultimately, it comes down to confidence in the foundation that you're wearing, and the original is kind of it for me. I know that I don't have to worry about my base, I don't have to worry about any of my makeup, because everything sits really well on top of it and lasts all day long. And the last thing that you want to be worrying about, I don't care how vain you are, I mean, we're all here for a reason, no? I don't care how vain you are, the last thing you want to be worrying about while you're at work is touching up your makeup, or anywhere really. On a night out, fair enough, but you know, during the day, you want to be confident that something's going to last you all day when you put it on, and that's what this does for me. I would say if you're on the fence about coverage, go for the light one. I think you'll end up graduating to the full original one anyway, like I did, but the light one does kind of give you the best of both worlds. You do have a slightly lighter coverage if you want it, but it is buildable, and it does feel slightly lighter on the skin. People have suggested other high-end foundations that I might like to try because they know I'm so fond of this one, but I'm not looking for bigger and better. This is the best that I can possibly want from my foundation. The only thing I would say is I would be looking for potentially a cheaper version of this. So if you know of something that you feel personally performs just as well as the original, or the light double wear, kind of like the way that it lasts throughout the day, the coverage really lasts. Oil control is something that I am aware of, but I'm more interested in it not making you more oily than normal. I don't mind a little bit of shine, a little bit of glow, not making you more oily than normal, but also that the coverage and the foundation, the finish itself lasts all day long. If you know of a budget product, I would love to hear about that, and potentially I'll come back to you in a couple of months with some lower cost alternatives to this. But for now, I really do think that this is probably one of the only higher end or more expensive makeup items that I really do recommend and think it's worth the extra money. A lot of stuff that I talk about that is a little bit more expensive is just a splurge. If you want to treat yourself, go out and buy a matte lipstick, go and buy whatever, but there are very few high-end items that I really genuinely think are worth the extra, but I do think that Estee Lauder Double Wear is up there. I don't know if I've made that clear throughout this video, but it really is one of my absolute favorites. So I hope that this has been useful for those of you that may be thinking about this range and you were finding it difficult to choose which one to pick for yourself. Just because something didn't work for me, again, I've said this a million times, but just because something doesn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. The reasons that I don't like it might be the reasons that you love it. So kind of bear that in mind. And also, if you have got any specific reviews from yourself or opinions about any products that I've mentioned, please leave them in the comments, because it's always good to add balance to my one-person review. I know that there are people I follow on Instagram that absolutely love the compact makeup. Doesn't work for me at all, but something about it appeals to them. So just kind of take everything that I say with a pinch of salt is probably the smart thing to do across everything. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!